Admiral Naira Kalanth stood motionless before the vast observation window of the Celestial Federation's flagship, her iridescent scales reflecting the soft blue glow of Earth in the distance. The planet seemed deceptively peaceful, a jewel suspended in the void, but the data streaming across her neural interface told a different story. "Show me the analysis again," she commanded, her third eye focusing on the holographic display while her other two remained fixed on the planet. Her chief analyst, Dr. Vereen, stepped forward, his tentacles gracefully manipulating the data streams. "The humans have achieved in 2 centuries what took most species millennia," he began, his voice carrying a note of both awe and concern. "Their technological progression is exponential, not linear. From their first powered flight to orbital capabilities in 6 decades. From basic computing to quantum systems in less than a century. And now they're on the verge of discovering quantum-fold technology." Naira finished, her scales shifting to a deeper shade of blue. Without any guidance, without any contact with spacefaring civilizations, through sheer determination and innovation, the Federation had strict protocols for first contact. Species were to be approached only after they had achieved stable interstellar travel capabilities, which typically took thousands of years of careful development. But humans were about to break that paradigm, just as they had broken every other predictive model the Federation had developed. "There's more," Dr. Vereen continued, bringing up new data streams. "Their response to challenges is unique. Most species develop technology gradually, building upon successful experiments. Humans, they throw themselves at problems from every angle simultaneously. When they fail spectacularly, but when they succeed, they leap forward," Naira murmured. She had spent months studying Earth's history, and it both fascinated and terrified her. Other species developed weapons as a last resort. Humans developed them alongside their other technologies, constantly preparing for conflicts that didn't yet exist. The decision weighed heavily on her. Protocol dictated waiting, but her instincts screamed that waiting would be catastrophic. Humanity was about to discover quantum-fold technology through their quantum entanglement experiments. Without proper guidance, their first attempts could tear a hole in space-time. "Admiral," her second-in-command, Commander Lix, interrupted her thoughts. "The Council is waiting for your recommendation." Naira took one last look at Earth. In the brief time they had been observing, she had watched humans launch 3 new satellite networks, develop 2 new propulsion systems, and begin construction on their first Mars colony. They showed no signs of slowing down. "Prepare for first contact," she announced, "but not according to standard protocols. We can't afford to wait for them to reach us. They're too unpredictable, too innovative. We need to guide them, now, before they accidentally destroy themselves or worse." The bridge crew shifted uncomfortably. Breaking first contact protocols was unprecedented in the Federation's 10,000 years of existence. But then again, so was everything about humanity. "Send the signal," she commanded. "Let's hope they're ready for what comes next." The signal was sent, a carefully crafted message of peace and welcome. The Federation's linguists had spent months studying Earth's languages, crafting the perfect introduction. What they received in response would change the galaxy forever. Within hours of detecting the signal, humans had not only decoded it, but had begun broadcasting replies in 20 different languages. They had already developed 3 new theoretical models of faster-than-light communication, based solely on analyzing the signal's properties. And most surprisingly, they had immediately begun preparing for both peaceful contact and potential conflict. "They're mobilizing their military forces," Commander Lix reported, his scales paling. "But they're also preparing diplomatic welcome ceremonies. They're somehow ready for both war and peace simultaneously." "Of course they are," Naira replied, a new understanding dawning. "That's what makes them unique. They hope for the best, while preparing for the worst," Dr. Vereen finished. "Admiral, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from their major research facilities. They're already trying to replicate our technology based on the signal alone. The Federation had expected humans to be cautious, perhaps even fearful. Instead, they were racing forward with characteristic enthusiasm and innovation. Within days of first contact, they had derived principles of quantum physics that had taken other species centuries to develop. As Naira prepared for humanity's first face-to-face meeting with alien life, she couldn't shake the feeling that the Federation wasn't making first contact with humanity. Humanity was making first contact with them. And somehow, that made all the difference. "Admiral," Dr. Vereen called out, his voice tight with concern. "You need to see this. They're quantum experiments. They're not just replicating our technology. They're improving it." Naira's scales shifted to pure white, a sign of absolute shock. In the brief time since receiving the Federation's signal, humans had taken the basic principles of quantum fold technology and begun developing applications the Federation had never considered. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. They had broken protocol to prevent humanity from developing dangerous technologies too quickly. Instead, they had given them a framework that their incredible innovation could build upon. The question now was, had they just saved humanity from itself, or had they unknowingly unleashed something unprecedented upon the galaxy? As Naira prepared her report for the Council, she knew one thing with certainty. The galaxy would never be the same after humanity's emergence onto the cosmic stage. Whether that change would bring enlightenment or chaos remained to be seen. The Federation's Grand Council chamber had never felt so tense. Admiral Naira Khalid stood before the assembled council members, their combined bioluminescence casting shifting shadows across the ancient crystalline walls. Her report on humanity's response to first contact had left the chamber in stunned silence. "Impossible," High Counselor Zix finally declared, his crystalline exoskeleton vibrating with disbelief. "No species could advance this rapidly. Your data must be flawed." Naira activated the holographic display, filling the chamber with real-time feeds from Earth. In the 3 weeks since first contact, humans have reverse-engineered principles of quantum mechanics that took us millennia to develop. But that's not what concerns me most. The display shifted to show Earth's unified response to the Federation's presence. Ancient enemies were now collaborating, sharing resources and technology. Nations that had been on the brink of war were now working together, pooling their research and development capabilities. "They're not just learning," Dr. Vereen added, his tentacles twisting anxiously. "They're innovating. Look at this." He highlighted a series of human experiments with quantum technology. "They're approaching quantum fold physics from angles we never considered. They're asking questions we never thought to ask." The Council watched as humans combined their primitive but robust technologies with the basic principles they'd gleaned from the Federation's signal. They weren't just copying. They were transforming, improving, creating hybrid technologies that defied conventional understanding. Yesterday, they successfully tested their first quantum communication device. Naira continued, "But they built it differently than ours. More efficient, more adaptable. They're not following our path of development. They're blazing their own." High Counselor Zix's crystalline form darkened with concern. "And their military preparation. That's where things become even more interesting," Commander Lix interjected, stepping forward. "They're developing defensive systems that integrate their ballistic technology with quantum principles. It's crude but ingenious. They're creating hybrid weapons we never imagined possible." The display showed human military exercises, their forces adapting with remarkable speed to the possibilities of quantum technology. They weren't discarding their primitive weapons. They were enhancing them, combining them with their emerging understanding of advanced physics in ways that made Federation military analysts deeply uncomfortable. "We need to contain this," another council member declared. "If they continue at this pace, containment may no longer be possible." Naira interrupted, her scales shifting to a warning red. "They've already established quantum communication networks across their solar system. Their Mars colony is expanding rapidly, using hybrid technologies that exceed our efficiency ratings. They're not just surviving in space, they're thriving. The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. The Federation had expected humanity to be grateful, humble, eager to learn from their advanced civilization. Instead, humans were racing forward on their own path, taking the Federation's gifts and transforming them into something new and potentially dangerous. There's one more thing, Dr. Vereen added hesitantly. We've detected unusual energy signatures from their quantum experiments. They're not just replicating our technology. They're trying to improve it. And, he paused, his tentacles writhing. They might be succeeding. The holographic display showed a human research facility where scientists had modified quantum fold principles to create what they called a hyperspace window. It was different from Federation technology, more energy-intensive but potentially more powerful. This cannot be allowed to continue, High Counselor Zix declared. We must intervene. Show them the proper path of development. Teach them to respect the natural order of technological progression. Naira's scales shifted to a deep blue of concern. With all due respect, Counselor, I don't believe we can. They're not following our path because they don't think like us. Their entire history is built on rapid adaptation, on finding unexpected solutions to impossible problems. Then we must make them understand, Zix insisted. Send a diplomatic delegation. Show them the dangers of their reckless advancement. As the council debated, Naira watched the feeds from Earth. Humans weren't waiting for Federation guidance. They were pushing forward, their combined scientific minds attacking problems from countless angles simultaneously. They failed often, but each failure taught them something new, and they adapted with incredible speed. There's something else you should know, she said quietly, drawing the council's attention. We've detected signs that they're already experimenting with weapons applications we never considered. They're combining their nuclear technology with quantum principles in ways our scientists thought impossible. The council chamber fell silent again. The Federation had never encountered a species that developed weapons alongside peaceful technology, that prepared for war even as they reached out in friendship. It challenged everything they thought they knew about civilizational development. We made first contact to prevent them from developing dangerous technologies too quickly, Naira concluded. Instead, we've given them a framework that their incredible innovation is building upon at an unprecedented rate. The question now isn't whether we should guide them. The question is, can we? As if in answer, the holographic display showed new energy signatures from Earth. Humans had just successfully tested their first prototype of a quantum fold drive. But unlike the Federation's carefully controlled, efficient design, this was something different, something new, something that made Federation scientists both fascinated and deeply afraid. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was holding the pen that would write its new history. The Federation had to decide quickly. Would they embrace this change, or try to stop it? And more importantly, could they stop it if they tried? The Federation's attempt at controlling humanity's technological advancement proved to be their greatest miscalculation. When their peacekeeping fleet arrived in Earth's orbit with demands to halt unauthorized research, humanity's response caught them completely off guard. Admiral Naira Kalath watched in disbelief as her neural interface displayed the unfolding situation. The humans hadn't responded with fear or submission when faced with the Federation's superior firepower. Instead, they had immediately launched what they called Operation Trojan Horse. Admiral, Commander Lix called out, his scales shifting to emergency red. The humans are broadcasting something across all our communication channels. It's affecting our quantum networks. The humans had spent weeks studying Federation communication protocols. Instead of trying to block or jam them, they had created a virus that turned the Federation's own quantum network against itself. Ships across the fleet began experiencing cascading system failures as human-designed quantum algorithms rewrote their core protocols. Impossible, Dr. Vereen whispered, his tentacles coiling in distress. They couldn't have understood our quantum encryption so quickly. But they had. In the brief weeks since first contact, Human cryptographers had not only cracked Federation encryption, but had found weaknesses no one had discovered in 10,000 years of use. They hadn't just studied the technology, they had reimagined its possibilities. Multiple ships reporting critical systems failure, Commander Lix announced. They're using our own targeting systems against us. The humans had turned the Federation's precision targeting arrays into a weapon. Every time a Federation ship attempted to lock weapons, their systems would instead target their own vessels. It was elegant, devastating, and completely unexpected. But the real surprise came from Earth's surface. Quantum energy signatures erupted from hidden facilities worldwide as humanity revealed their true technological progress. They hadn't been merely experimenting with Federation technology. They had been revolutionizing it. New contacts. The sensor operator's voice cracked with alarm. Hundreds of small vessels emerging from Earth's atmosphere. Their energy signatures are hybrid. Naira watched as the human fleet approached. Their ships were crewed by Federation standards, but they combined traditional chemical propulsion with quantum-fold technology in ways that defied conventional physics. They were faster, more maneuverable, and virtually impossible for Federation targeting systems to track. They're using their atmospheric friction as a quantum shield, Dr. Vereen observed, his scientific curiosity momentarily overriding his fear. The heat and chaos of re-entry is somehow enhancing their quantum field stability. It's brilliant and completely counterintuitive. The Federation fleet, accustomed to formal battle protocols and organized warfare, found themselves facing an enemy that ignored every conventional rule of space combat. Human ships darted in and out of quantum space, using their hybrid drives to perform maneuvers that should have torn them apart. Admiral, Commander Lix reported grimly, they're not just attacking our ships. They're studying us. Each engagement is teaching them more about our technology. He was right. Every time a Federation ship used its defensive systems, the humans adapted. Every quantum shield frequency, every weapon configuration, every tactic was analyzed and countered with frightening speed. They were learning, evolving their strategies in real time. Pull back the fleet, Naira ordered, her scales shifting to the deep blue of tactical retreat. We need to regroup and reassess. But retreat proved as difficult as advance. The humans had saturated local space with quantum disruption fields of their own design. Federation ships attempting to engage their quantum fold drives found themselves trapped by unpredictable energy fluctuations. They're hurting us, Naira realized. Every escape route leads exactly where they want us to go. The display showed the human fleet's pattern clearly now. They weren't trying to destroy the Federation ships. They were forcing them into a specific configuration, using the Federation's own tactical protocols against them. Standard Federation doctrine called for specific fleet formations in retreat scenarios, and the humans had studied them all. Message from Earth, Commander Lix announced. Text only, broadcast on all frequencies. The message was simple. Your technologies are impressive, but your imagination is limited. Leave our solar system now, or we'll be forced to demonstrate just how creative humans can be when pushed. To emphasize their point, several human ships suddenly executed a maneuver that Federation scientists had declared theoretically impossible. They created a cascading quantum resonance that temporarily linked their ship's mass, allowing them to function as a single unified weapons platform. They're not just using our technology, Dr. Vereen said quietly. They're rewriting the laws of physics as we understand them. Naira made her decision. Signal the retreat. Full emergency protocols. As the Federation fleet struggled to disengage, Naira received a private transmission from her flagship's quantum core. The humans had somehow accessed it directly, bypassing all security protocols. The message contained detailed scans of Federation technology, annotated with human improvements and modifications. Consider this a preview, the message read. Next time, we won't be so gentle. The galaxy is changing. You can either change with it or get out of the way. Looking at the annotations, Naira felt a chill run through her scales. The humans hadn't just defended themselves. They had used this entire confrontation as a learning experience. They had turned a potential conquest into a masterclass in Federation technology, and they were already improving upon everything they had learned. The galaxy wasn't just changing. Humanity was rewriting its fundamental rules, one quantum breakthrough at a time. And the Federation would have to decide quickly whether to adapt or become obsolete. The Federation Grand Council's emergency session had stretched into its third day. The massive holographic displays showed a galaxy in turmoil as humanity's influence spread far beyond their solar system. Admiral Naira Keleith stood before the council, her scales a troubled mix of colors as she delivered her report. "The humans aren't just advancing technologically," she explained. "They're fundamentally changing how species across the galaxy think about progress itself." The display showed scenes from dozens of worlds. Federation client species, inspired by humanity's example, were beginning to experiment with hybrid technologies of their own. The careful, controlled advancement that had maintained galactic stability for millennia was breaking down. Worse, Commander Lix added, they're sharing their methodologies, not just their technology, but their way of thinking. The evidence was undeniable. Human educational materials had spread through the quantum networks like wildfire. Their universities had opened quantum-linked remote campuses on 20 different worlds. Young scientists across the galaxy were beginning to ask what if, instead of following established protocols. "Look at this," Dr. Vereen said, manipulating the display to show a remote Federation research outpost. This facility was studying conventional plasma containment. Then they made contact with a human physics team. Within weeks, they'd developed an entirely new form of quantum plasma hybrid drive. High Counselor Zix's crystalline form darkened with concern. "They're contaminating thousands of years of scientific tradition with their chaos." "No," Naira corrected firmly. "They're teaching the galaxy how to innovate. And that's not even our biggest problem." The display shifted to show human military activities. They had transformed their initial defensive innovations into a completely new form of warfare. Federation tactical experts watched in horror as human ships performed maneuvers that ignored conventional physics, using quantum fields in ways that should have been impossible. "They call it quantum surfing," Commander Lix explained. "They ride the boundaries between normal space and quantum space, using the interference patterns to move in ways our targeting systems can't predict. But that's just the beginning." The next images showed human ships using modified quantum fold technology to create micro-wormholes in battle. They weren't just moving through space, they were reshaping it, creating temporary shortcuts that let them outflank any conventional defense. Their latest innovation is something they call quantum ghost drive, Dr. Vereen reported. They can partially phase their ships into quantum space, making them virtually invulnerable to conventional weapons while still able to attack. "The physics shouldn't work, but humans don't seem particularly concerned with what should or shouldn't work," Naira finished. "They try it anyway, and when it fails, they learn why and try again differently." The council chamber erupted in concerned discussion. The Federation had always maintained control through technological superiority and carefully regulated advancement. Humanity was disrupting both pillars of their power. "There's more," Naira continued once the chamber quieted. "They're not just changing military technology. They're changing how species interact with each other." The display showed human diplomatic missions to various worlds. Unlike the Federation's formal, hierarchical approach, humans engaged with other species as equals, encouraging them to contribute their own unique perspectives and innovations. They've established what they call the Galactic Innovation Network, Dr. Vereen explained. It's a quantum-linked collaborative research platform. Species that we considered primitive are now contributing breakthrough ideas because humans encouraged them to think differently. The implications were staggering. The Federation's careful classification of species based on technological advancement was becoming meaningless. Humans had proven that innovation could come from anywhere, that different perspectives were valuable precisely because they were different. And now, Commander Lix said grimly, they're starting to experiment with our biological enhancement technology. The display showed human research into the Federation's most closely guarded secret, the quantum biological interfaces that enhance their natural capabilities. But humans weren't just copying the technology. They were reimagining it entirely. They're developing what they call quantum neural networks, Dr. Vereen explained, his tentacles twisting with a mixture of fear and fascination. Instead of simply enhancing existing capabilities, they're creating entirely new forms of consciousness. The potential implications are terrifying. High Counselor Zix interrupted. This cannot be allowed to continue. The galaxy will descend into chaos. The galaxy is already changing, Naira countered. The question isn't whether we can stop it. The question is whether we can adapt to it. As if to emphasize her point, new data streamed across the displays. Humans had just successfully tested a device that could manipulate quantum fields on a massive scale. They called it a reality engine, and its potential applications went far beyond anything the Federation had ever conceived. We have two choices, Naira concluded. We can continue trying to fight this change and watch our influence erode as species across the galaxy embrace human innovation. Or we can learn from them, adapt our own thinking, and help guide this transformation. The council chamber fell silent as the weight of the decision pressed upon them. The Federation had maintained stability through control for 10,000 years. But humanity had proven that true progress came from freedom. The freedom to question, to experiment, to fail, and to try again. The galaxy was entering a new age, and for the first time in millennia, no one could predict what would come next. The art of human warfare wasn't just about combat. It was about transforming everything it touched, creating new possibilities where none had existed before. The final confrontation between humanity and the Federation began not with a battle, but with a demonstration. As the Federation's combined fleet approached Earth with overwhelming force, humanity unveiled the true extent of their technological revolution. Admiral Naira Kalanth stood on her flagship's bridge, watching as her neural interface displayed the impossible. The humans had created something they called a quantum matrix, a vast network of interconnected quantum fields that spanned their entire solar system. Energy signatures off the scale, Dr. Vereen reported, his tentacles writhing in agitation. They've somehow linked every quantum device in their system into a single unified field. The Federation fleet, the largest ever assembled, had come to end the human threat to galactic stability. Instead, they found themselves facing technology that made their most advanced weapons look primitive by comparison. Message from Earth, Commander Lix announced. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, quantum-linked directly to every ship in the fleet. The human representative appeared on every display simultaneously, her image perfectly clear despite the vast distances involved. Federation forces, she began. You're about to witness the future. Please, pay attention. What followed stunned even the most hardened Federation scientists. The quantum matrix activated, and space itself seemed to ripple. Thousands of human ships appeared from quantum space, but they were unlike anything seen before. They were partial quantum constructs, existing simultaneously in normal and quantum space. Impossible. High Counselor Zix's voice crackled over the quantum net. No species could develop such technology so quickly. That's been your mistake from the beginning, Naira replied, finally understanding. You keep thinking in terms of what should be possible, while humans keep asking what could be possible. The human ships began to move, demonstrating maneuvers that defied conventional physics. They didn't just slip between normal and quantum space. They manipulated the boundary between the two, creating new physical laws as they moved. Their quantum matrix, Dr. Vereen explained in awe. It's not just a weapon or a defense system. It's a tool for rewriting local physics. They're not just using quantum mechanics. They're restructuring it to suit their needs. The human representative spoke again. We could destroy your fleet, she said matter-of-factly. But that's not why we developed this technology. We want to share it, all of it, with everyone. Displays across the Federation fleet lit up as humans began transmitting their research data, not just their successes, but their failures, their theoretical models, their half-finished ideas. They were offering the galaxy not just technology, but their method of innovation itself. "Look at this," Dr. Vereen called out, his scientific curiosity overriding his fear. "They've developed quantum consciousness transfer. They can share experiences, memories, knowledge directly through quantum fields. But they've also included warnings about their failed attempts, ethical guidelines, safety protocols. They're not just giving us technology," Naira realized. "They're teaching us how to think differently." The quantum matrix pulsed again, and holographic displays appeared on every Federation world simultaneously. Humans began teaching, sharing their knowledge not just with the Federation, but with every species in the galaxy. "We don't want to rule the galaxy," the human representative continued. "We want to transform it. Every species has unique perspectives, unique ideas. Imagine what we could achieve if we all worked together, free to innovate, free to experiment, free to fail and learn from those failures." The Federation Council, watching from their capital world, saw their carefully ordered galaxy transforming before their eyes. Species they had classified as primitive were already beginning to experiment with quantum technology in ways the Federation had never considered. "The age of controlled progress is over," Naira announced to the Council. "Humanity hasn't just beaten us militarily. They've shown us a better way forward." The human quantum matrix expanded further, offering its capabilities to any species that wished to join their network of innovation. It wasn't conquest through force, but transformation through shared knowledge and creativity. "We stand at a crossroads," Naira continued. "We can cling to our old ways and become irrelevant, or we can embrace this change and help guide it. Humanity has proven that true strength lies not in controlling knowledge, but in sharing it, in encouraging every species to contribute their unique perspective." The Federation Council debated for 3 days while the human quantum matrix continued to transform the galaxy. In the end, they really had no choice. The old order was already crumbling as species across the galaxy embraced human-style innovation. 1 year later, Admiral Naira Kalath stood in the newly established Galactic Innovation Center on Earth. Around her, representatives from thousands of species worked together, sharing ideas, conducting experiments, learning from both success and failure. The Federation hadn't fallen. It had evolved. Under human influence, it had transformed from a controlling hierarchy into a collaborative network of species working together to push the boundaries of what was possible. The humans were right, she told Dr. Vereen as they watched a young Federation scientist working with a team from a formerly primitive species on a new form of quantum propulsion. "The greatest power isn't in controlling knowledge, it's in sharing it, in letting every perspective contribute to our understanding of the universe." The quantum matrix hummed around them, now spanning much of the galaxy, carrying ideas and innovations between worlds at the speed of thought. Humanity had indeed changed everything, not through conquest, but through something far more powerful: the free exchange of ideas and the unlimited power of collective innovation. The galaxy had entered a new age, one where progress wasn't measured in careful steps over millennia, but in bold leaps of imagination. And it all began because one species dared to ask, "What if?" instead of accepting what is.